When I got a call, it's like, hey, Tyson want to do like a 8-round boxing situation. My initial thought was no. Mike is deadly dangerous. If he hits you, he can take your head off. But then as I thought about it more, that's the great Mike Tyson. How could you not? Who don't want to share the ring with Mike Tyson?
How was Roy Jones?
Yeah, he was formidable. I realized this is very complicated.
He didn't catch that. He didn't catch that.
You had no idea what you had in store from the God of War.
You get in my face, I gotta hit you. Gotta knock a motherfucker out. Gotta hurt somebody. It's like David and Goliath. He's a giant, and I'm the little David who only has God on my side, which is only all I need.
There's never any doubt in my mind because I'm the best in the world. Even though a lot of you don't like to hear it, it's fact.
Boxing is a good sport. This is what I do.
When you become a fighter, that's because you can't do nothing else. No guy, he's the best in his generation, I'm the best in my generation.
If you're not a legend, you don't belong here.
Let's just pause it. Just say as much. I was about to get real fast.
We are just moments away here at the Staples Center again. A year that by any definition has not been normal. Well, tonight is definitely not a normal combat sports event, and Israel Adesanya, the undefeated UFC middleweight champion, I was in my early 20s when these two were in their primes, and seeing what they were able to accomplish. Obviously, it's an exhibition. Obviously, they are both over 50. Temper the expectations. They say if you don't expect nothing, you won't be disappointed. This is about curiosity. This is about nostalgia. This is about professional pride.
Yeah, 100%. This is, like you said, nostalgia. Mike is one of those guys, like in his era. Same with Roy. In his era, if you were alive, if you were there witnessing it happen, you can't even describe it. It's something that was just beautiful. It was hard to, like, I was a kid, you know, and I'm a guy who still to this day, whenever, example, you at the PI, the UFC PI, if you see Mike rocking around, everyone stops and looks.
Well, he transcended the sport.
More than the sport. He is Mike Tyson. And same with Roy Jones. Like Roy, when he was in his, he's the guy that will play a basketball game like hours before his fight.
Eric Lucas, the only athlete to ever participate in two big sports events in one day. Now, Ray, you came back a few times, albeit with mixed results, right?
Yes.
Now, here we are. Mike Tyson, 15 years removed from his ignominious defeat against Kevin McBride. Roy Jones has been active, but hasn't been active for over 3 years, or close to 3 years. Why do fighters keep coming? But why do you come back? Is it all about the Benjamins, Ray?
For me, it's really hard to articulate unless you're in my shoes.
Well, put yourselves in Mike and Roy's shoes and compare yourself.
Well, for me, thank God, I didn't come back for financial reasons. I came back because I wanted to fight Robert Hagler. Fight Terry Norris, Hector Macho Camacho. I mean, I pushed the envelope too much without being ready here and here.
But you were in your 30s, and these guys are now in their 50s. And while it is an exhibition, do you feel that it's going to remain so? I mean, we're talking Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., two guys with healthy egos, a lot of pride.
You said exhibition?
I did?
No, there's no such thing as exhibition. Even when I'm sparring with my brother Roger, I don't spar.
Well, what is your definition of hard sparring? That's what the California State Athletic Commission has decreed this match. They want them to go at it, but not necessarily hurt each other. Come on.
They have no control of that. They are going to hurt each other. Hate to say it.
Israel, what do you? I mean, you've been very vocal about the same thing. There's a big difference in terms of, people a lot of people, casual sports fans, lapsed boxing fans, with everything going on in the world, need a break from, I guess, reality. This is surreality. What about this fight tonight? What do you expect?
Honestly, I expect them to go at each other. Like I said, this is thriller. This ain't vanilla. I don't know what this exhibition thing we're talking about is, but once someone gets touched, egos, like Mike said, the gods of war have summoned him again. They summoned him again. That's why, like Mr. Leonard said, in here, he's had that. Same with Roy. They have that. They're fighters through and through. It's like riding a bike. Once you're a fighter, you can't let go of that. You have to be able to, though.
All right, let's take a look at the illustrious numbers for both Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. And again, we talked about the age. We talked about the fact that they have been, well, throughout their careers, involved in so many highs and some lows as well. And what sticks out for you, Israel, when you look at the numbers, that winning streak definitely is impressive.
For me, it's just a record. Like, for me, I just see knowledge passed down. Just, this is crazy. These guys have been around. They're old dogs, and they still got some new tricks up their sleeve.
And their knockout streaks lengthy: 19 for Tyson, 17 for Roy Jones. And yeah, you all must have forgotten. I mean, Roy Jones Jr., obviously a man known for his boxing, his creative offense, much like you, Israel. But he also possessed some pop, the uppercuts, the Glenn Kelly. I mean, that was a posterizing of a fighter when he had his hands down, pop Glenn Kelly. So let's see, Ray, again, final words in terms of what is the realistic expectations tonight?
You know, when the fight was first announced, I said Mike Tyson, but I didn't include Roy Jones Jr. Anything can happen here. I can't call it.
What would be a success for you?
For me, if they both show their true heart and even go more than 4 rounds and show true skill, that would be a big win for everyone.
And I think it's an advantage for both, but for Mike Tyson especially, 2-minute rounds. They were supposed to wear headgear, and, well, if you go back to the rematch with Evander Holyfield, maybe Roy Jones Jr. wishes they were wearing headgear tonight, but it's they're not going to be wearing headgear. 2-minute rounds.
Maybe you and I can do that.
Maybe you can do that, and I'll call it.
My man's about that action.
All right, so here we go. We are just moments away. Legends Only League, the first night, and here's Mike Tyson's resume, and yeah, it speaks for itself. Started his career with 19 consecutive knockouts, a ferocious blast, a fire hose blast of brutality. Became the youngest heavyweight champion in history when he defeated Trevor Berbick, was the 86 and 1988 Fighter of the Year. His prime really between 86 and 91. He was the undisputed heavyweight champion for 3 years. Look at that, half of his 44 knockouts come in the opening round, and, well, a night that he would, I'm sure, like to forget, quitting on the stool against Kevin McBride, saying that he had lost his love for boxing, but boxing has saved his life, and he is back, wanting to give back to humanity, wanting to give back to his family, wanting to give back to himself. And, of course, a lot of money for charity as well. Let's go now to Roy Jones Jr.'s. All right, and before we get that, let's talk a little bit more about this resume, Israel. Again, the power.
That's the thing everyone always says. Even in my career, they keep saying the power. But power means shit if you can't get it to the target. But the guy, Mike Tyson, knows how to deliver that power to the target. He's got beautiful head movement. He knows how to get inside, great footwork, and deliver that power. And he's done it over and over again. Look at that, 22 or 44 KOs inside the first round. I won't be surprised if we see that here.
Of the 90s, and a guy that just, I mean, this guy moved his hands like a magician, becoming the first fighter to start a career at 154 and then claim a piece of the heavyweight crown, the first middleweight champion to do so in 100 years, and again, Olympic silver medalist. Ray, you were a gold medalist. Roy Jones Jr. should have been a gold medalist. The worst decision in Olympic boxing history.
I actually cried when that happened. That was just so wrong.
All right, and Snoop Dogg rejoins us, and Snoop, Roy Jones Jr. spits a few bars as well. He's a man after your own heart with the rapping, but what about the rapping he'll be doing in the ring tonight?
I mean, you got to look at his career. Roy was the man in the 90s, just like, you know, the music that I made was real effective in the 90s, so we kind of like coexisted at the same time. So to see that he still got the spirit and the will and the know-how and to put his skills up against the great Mike Tyson, that says a lot, because Mike is Mike no matter what day it is or what night it is. So I'm anxious to see what's going to happen.
All right, bringing the OG funk along with Roy Jones Jr., Snoop Dogg and Israel. What about Roy Jones Jr.? We've talked about throughout the night the way that you have patterned some of your unorthodox creative offense. What is it? What bedazzled you the most about Roy Jones Jr. in his heyday?
For me, it's his confidence. He was so sure of himself. Mike had that as well, and Mike talked about that when he walked in the ring. But Roy had this confidence, this aura of invincibility. Like he just knew you can't rock with me. Like I'm gonna go in there and impose my will on you, like hands behind the back with James Tony. What's up? And then he copied him, dropped him down. These are iconic moments in combat sports history and highlights that are gonna live on and on and on forever. He might create another one tonight.
All right, well, we have a contact high in the building thanks to Snoop. And Snoop, there hopes to be a lot of contact tonight.
Thanks to Weedback, man. I followed the navigation on Weedback.
And speaking of cannabis, of course, Mike Tyson has had a legendary career. Snoop, talk about the influence of Iron Mike and why you're such a fan.
Man, Iron Mike Tyson is the epitome of what it means to be great, to come from nothing and become something. He was our hero. You know, we looked up to Sugar Ray, Muhammad Ali, and then it was Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was the new era of what they had laid down, you know, running with the baton, taking it to another level. So he represented the hood, he represented the turf that you could actually get up out of the hood and make it. So we really, you know, leaned on him and loved him for what he did, and we supported him through his good times, bad times, and his comeback. So we always been there for Mike Tyson.
What did you think when this fight was first announced, Snoop? Did you think that the Indo was a little stronger than usual?
I was like, let me call Roy to make sure. You hear me? Oh, y'all sure? You sure?
And there, speaking of the devil himself, there's Roy Jones Jr. Again, just an incredible athlete. And Ray Leonard, of course, with some of the fastest hands in the sport. Roy Jones Jr. with dazzling hand speed, but it was just the creative offense, the unorthodox nature. And it's just incredible to see him making this walk now at the age of 51. He said it was a bucket list. He knows he's giving up the size, and he says, you know, you can criticize him all you want, you can make light of the fight, but he says, I'm going to be standing across Mike Tyson. This is bucket list stuff, Israel.
100%. This is something that dreams are made of. This is a fantasy fight, if you will. But it's not a fantasy. It's about to happen right now in front of us. And yeah, Roy, never count out an old dog. He's still got this tricks up his sleeve. And he's a guy that's a crafty veteran. I'm telling you, man, they say speed's elastic is one of the first things that go when you get older. But he's a guy that still retained a little bit of that. He's not the same, his eyes aren't the same like you said, but he's still got that pop in his punches and that delivery system that's super fast.
2020 continues to bring the improbable. Let's go to Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment we've been waiting for. Two legends in one ring. Coming to the ring first, the 6-time world champion, Roy Jones Jr.
First thing first, to all my haters, pumping down wings like I hate the baby. I must up and down, I had to learn a lot. Still on top, and it's really no debate. You do me a favor, don't do me no favor. Going up, look at it, wake up and later. After I'm done, won't be done later. I'm talking about nigga, not now, not later. Yeah, I mustn't forget. Last of the great, I'm going on time, no time for mistakes. You all that, you kill all the fakes. Eliminate anything else out the way. Real talk. Nigga, this is life, ain't just talk. I'm ready to fight, I don't just talk. I'm more about to fight, I don't just bark. I'm back to the fight, why we take off. Take off. Yeah, y'all.
We're gonna get get the collab, Snoop?
Man, we gotta get a collab. Boy, still got it. What do you mean?
He was a boxing virtuoso, and while he's released rap albums, he was pure jazz in the squared circle.
And now making his entrance to the ring, the former two-time heavyweight world champion, Iron Mike Tyson!
I've been the wildest, I've been the craziest, I've been the outrageous. This is the most destructive fighter. Mike Tyson, an international.
That didn't even wait. He said, fuck no walking out of the fucking jacket.
Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson.
Okay, TikTok.
Mike Tyson.
The classic, no socks, black trunks, towel around his neck, and Mike Tyson 1 week removed from the 34-year anniversary where he defeated Trevor Berbick to become the youngest heavyweight champion, looking to reclaim just a tiny, tiny piece of redemption.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem will be performed by our special guest, the Grammy Award-winning international recording superstar, singer, actor, producer, Neo.
Keep the hat on, bro.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
This is wild. Paul.
From Staples Center, Los Angeles, California, USA, CES Boxing proudly presents the main event of the evening. 8 2-minute rounds of heavyweight boxing. Featuring 2 of the greatest names in the history of the sport, as Triller brings us Tyson Jones, sanctioned by the California State Boxing Commission, Chairman John Carvelli, Executive Officer Andy Foster. The World Boxing Council, President Mauricio Sullivan, has assigned 3 former world champions to unofficially score this matchup. They are Chad Dawson, Christy Martin, and Vinny Paz, aka Vinny Pazienza. The referee in charge of the action will be Ray Corona. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the officials are ready. The fighters are in the ring, and they are ready. So for the millions tuned in watching this live, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, Fighting out of the black corner, wearing white and purple with gold, official weight 210 pounds. In 75 career fights, he has 66 victories, including 47 big wins by knockout. He's recognized as one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters in boxing history. From Pensacola, Florida, USA, the former middleweight world champion, former super middleweight world champion, the two-time light heavyweight world champion, former WBU cruiserweight world champion, and the former heavyweight champion of the world, the future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr. And across the ring, fighting out of the white corner, wearing his traditional black and officially weighing in at 220.4 pounds. In his career of 56 fights, he has 50 victories, including 44 knockouts. He was universally recognized as the baddest man on the planet. From Brownsville and the Catskills and Henderson, Nevada, USA, he is from the from the International Boxing Hall of Fame, presenting one of the most devastating heavyweight KO punchers of all times, the two-time heavyweight world champion, former undisputed, undefeated heavyweight champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson.
Let's go, fighters, 2 seconds. All right, gentlemen, I gave you the rules in there. 2 legends. Let's give them a good show. Touch gloves if you want.
Ooh. November 28, 2020. Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr.
Man, you can feel the tension in this room. It's palpable.
8 2-minute rounds, sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission.
Are you ready?
Bell in round 1, Ray Corona with a, pivotal task. The referee will have to really be on the ball. Mike Tyson expecting to come out as fast as possible.
You see what Roy's doing now? Roy has to do that the whole time.
Shit, go ahead, Roy. Mike Tyson with a cavalcade of first-round knockouts going to the liver and upstairs with that left hook, and there's a little of that bobbing weaving, of course, Castamano, teaching him the early intricacies of boxing, and Mike Tyson all over Roy Jones Jr.'s note.
This shit like 2 of my uncles fighting at the barbecue. Come on, you can go meet me in the backyard. I'm tired of this shit. Come on. Meet me back there, huh? Get up in there, Roy. Shit, in and out.
12-ounce gloves. Not the normal 10-ounce gloves, Israel. They will blunt a little bit of the offense.
Hold on to it, Roy. Hold on to it. Don't take that. Get out of there. Them tender ribs is tenderoni.
Mike Tyson coming forward.
Look at my uncles. Look at him. Look at my uncles up there fighting in the backyard. Stop. Back up.
Roy Jones Jr. Get me first, I gotta hold him.
He said he's bringing his hand, I gotta hold him. You gotta protect yourself. Get out of there, Roy. You still got it.
Well, there's a double, triple jab with Mike Tyson. Tyson trained with famed MMA trainer, I know you know him very well, Rafael Cordero. And Cordell said he had to end up having shoulder surgery just holding the pads for Tyson.
That's nice, imagine that. Power.
That's power. Okay.
Roy's trying to make him run to that right hand.
That's what he wanted to do.
Yes, without jab.
So the jab out there to get that right to come in, huh?
The style of fighting of Roy Jones Jr. does not conducive to older age, but Mike Tyson really taking the opening round.
That was a good round. Look at the champ. You don't even want to sit down. Stay up there, Mike.
So he's sitting down.
Oh, he gonna sit down.
Take advantage of that.
Relax. Here's Mike. What fucking beautiful. Where's the buffet?
Roy can't beat Mike Tyson inside like that. You know, he needs to stay mobile.
Yes. Double jab everything. Double jab everything. He's a flair for you. He took chest. You're gonna catch him. Yes. He's already back. Alright? Come back with a shot. Like make the little turns shorter and then come right back with stuff, okay? You can stuff coming. You see it. Feel it. Keep right. Keep right.
Your breathing is already heavy, Snoop.
He said, you can see it coming. He said, yes, somewhat.
Yes.
Tell the truth. Tell it like it is and not like it was, huh?
Amen. Round number 2. And Mike Tyson explodes and delivers a left to the body and the left hook upstairs. And Roy Jones Jr. You know, he talked about facing Anderson Silva, the MMA legend. He doesn't want. He's trying to turn this into a wrestling match.
Yeah, go ahead, Roy. Look at Roy got technique. Roy got
He better be careful there.
He's doing the right thing. He needs to get out of there.
Yeah, because he's going to make Mike mad. He's going to put something on him.
Mike Tyson used to be a vegan Evander Holyfield, which is he was on that night in '97. As Tyson, though, coming forward for Jones, with that left hand, and Jones shook it off. Trying to turn back the clock. One more time. Father Time undefeated. These two way past their primes, but looking for just something to get into. Entertain at least.
He can't let Mike get settled with the right hand.
That was the move of the half. He went real low. That was a long move right there.
Definitely. Definitely. It was
get out of there, Roy. Get the ribs out of there. They're going to be so long. Get them out of there.
Get the ribs out of there.
What do you think of Roy Jones Jr. tactics here?
I think he's trying to get Mike Tyson grappling with him, making him feel his way, making him frustrated as well. So that way he can make a mistake. But man, you don't want to make Mike mad.
Oh,
you got to keep that ribs off that barbecue grill.
Under 30 seconds left here in the second round. Tyson digging to the body momentarily, but they might need oxygen in between rounds here as they are just ripping on each other. And again, that's
Go ahead, Roy. Get smart.
They clipped him off.
Roy, get smart.
my Uncle Roy. Uncle Elroy. Uncle Elroy right there.
Use that jab. Mike's all
And yet James
Right. Like, I'm sorry.
That's called maturity.
Yeah, amen.
Say that. Growth and development. Say that.
Man, testify, bro.
Yes, Lord.
Keep that seven.
I like that round. They was mixing it up real good. I like that.
Tyson is dissolving.
Breathe a little bit, fellas. Breathe a little bit.
1, 2, 3.
Alright, smoke.
And you're hearing the voice of Rafael Cordero, responsible for honing some of the skills of some of the greatest MMA strikers ever, including admittedly some of them. There's Jones.
Get off, Roy, with the no look.
Hit him with the dart and then escape.
He was quick with that.
Oh, you gotta be quicker than that.
He coming with everybody. He coming strong ass right.
Shake and bake, baby. Shake and bake.
Get out of there. Just get out of there.
That's the.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I love right there. No look.
No piece of work.
Now you want to start fucking up on a good fight.
Good combination.
Yep.
Left hand and blocking and watching, and again Roy Jones Jr. just trying to keep it close, trying to wear down Mike Tyson potentially. And
Roy's getting better on the inside fighting at the moment.
He's smart. He's smart. That's a veteran fighter right there that knows how to wrap up and not take no big hits, but keep it in tight like that.
But is it entertaining and exciting for the viewing public at home, Snoop? I know it's smart.
But normally when Mike Tyson fights, he fights tall guys, big guys.
We got a headbutt.
You got guys now with Roy's like the same height.
Right.
And we've had an accidental headbutt. I heard that potentially if there was a cut, that Ray Corona may be looking to stop it, but just so far so good here in terms of, I don't think there was a cut, honestly.
It's too good to stop.
Yeah, can't stop this kind of a cut.
She just box it. Put some Vaseline on that thing and keep it moving.
Some Lysol.
Is that adrenaline? Oh, and there's an exchange.
A great exchange from two legends right there.
Speaking of legends, very proud to have Snoop Dogg on the broadcast. It's a big fan, and you're breaking it down for us, brother.
Hey man, this is what I love. I love watching boxing. I love being able to talk about it and being about it at the same time.
Jones avoids that punch by Tyson.
Get you some points.
He's trying to frustrate. He's trying to frustrate. Yes, exactly. He needs to let his hands go.
Right, that's how you get points, right?
Absolutely. You gotta be careful with those hands down.
Wise man once said, if you don't have any expectations, you will never be disappointed, and we need to temper our expectations in terms of what we will see tonight, Snoop.
Well, you know, I'm so happy that I'm seeing these guys still have it, like still have the punches, still have the awareness and the know-how and the smarts inside the ring. They may not have the same velocity, the same speed, but they still got that know-how.
Yeah, they got the mind, but sometimes the body doesn't do what the mind says, right, Israel?
Definitely, I'm loving it. I'm loving it so far. They're very competitive. Good fight so far. We still have a few rounds left.
Feign it and do it off. Listen. Even do it off the feint and switch and throw it up.
Yeah, there you go, that one hand, but you got to put some body behind that one hand because you ain't doing nothing.
And he has to frustrate Mike.
Do he really want to frustrate Mike?
Mike's there already.
I'm saying, he's already across from you.
Of course, Mike Tyson would love to deliver that patented right hook to the body, followed by the right uppercut. Has done so much damage over the years, and Tyson attacking Jones.
Oh, you mean the one he used to do on the Mike Tyson punch-out video? Yeah, okay, yeah.
And he's done it in a few fights as well, as he is, I mean, that uppercut, and Jones has a very good uppercut in the day, and Jones trying to utilize the footwork, the speed, obviously nowhere close to where it was in his prime, but Jones trying to deke and juke here.
What Roy Jones is doing is really trying to frustrate him, but Tyson cuts the corner off.
Yeah, he does.
Cuts the ring, yes.
Bulldog.
That's what he has to be.
Well, I feel like I'm back in my days as a professional announcer, and some of this grappling, maybe a little Muay Thai, almost a Taekwondo there, is it?
Yeah, this is some Muay Thai.
Ain't nobody punking out in here. Ain't no, you hit me, I'm hitting you back. I like this. This is what I like. My uncles is getting it in. I wanted to break this up. Grandma, they have that fight again.
Referee Ray Corona warning Roy Jones Jr. for holding.
You know, when you punch that Mike throws, that hook to the body and then uppercut, the short one, that would be defended.
Here's our unofficial scoring by the former champions.
I'm really impressed with Mike's
Oh, right. Jones wins it, and the veteran Jones hanging on now.
That's the shot.
Yeah, that's the thought.
Looking for the lucky shot.
Use his strength, yes.
20 seconds left in the ring.
Yeah, 20 seconds left in the first half of this 8-round fight. Again, only 2-minute rounds.
Get out there, Roy, get out.
He's looking at the body.
Roy Jones. And what he keeps doing to get away with it, he'll tie one hand, punch with the other, then swap around and tie with the other hand, and keep punching.
See, but only a veteran will be able to do something like that against Mike Tyson. That's practice.
We have WBC former champion judges on hand tonight, of course. Chad Dawson, Christy Martin, and Vinny Pazienza. Pazienza, by the way, infamous for not landing a punch against Roy Jones in the 4th round in their fight.
That was the first time in history.
Guys, tell me something. Does Roy look tired to you?
Yes.
Out of the two fighters, definitely Mike is in the better shape so far. Because you can see the way he's breathing.
He's exhausted. The body language says it all.
100%.
And again, when you know, we're talking, and I don't want to beat the horse here, guys, but two over 50-year-olds, what do you expect in terms of conditioning and stuff?
Well, I know how I am on the basketball court. In my early days, I could play like 5 or 6 games. I can only play 1 game of 21.
No, boy, he's not.
2 legends, man. Let's look sharp out there.
He's not looking as confident.
Oh, the referee encouraging them 2 legends. Let's look sharp out there. There's a sharp shot by Mike Tyson, the sharpshooter in this fight. But
Protect yourself, Roy. Protect yourself. That's still Mike Tyson up there.
Tyson avoids that punch.
Lord, don't let him have a flash. Precious Lord, please don't let him have a flash.
Coming up on the midpoint of round 5, and again, rattling Roy Jones. Jones ducking down and just wants to close the gap, wants to clinch here, is he? And Tyson wants to create some separation.
You're a gangster right now. Go ahead, Roy.
There you go.
It's just conditioning. That's the only thing he's just leaking in his conditioning.
Well, Ray, we talked about it. There's a difference between being in physical shape, cosmetic shape. Tyson looked great on the pads for 100-pound weight loss, but fighting shape is another thing, and here they are. Last minute of the 5th. They're heading to 10 minutes already of action, and that may not be saying a lot, but it is a lot, Izzy. It takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, definitely takes a great round. With another man his weight on you. When he has him on
There's that shot. Tyson.
That was a shot.
Tyson picking off Roy Jones Jr. There's that no look check by Roy Jones Jr. Get out of there. Get out of there, Roy. Get out of there. The veteran move by Joey. I don't want any more of this. Mike Tyson out there fighting right now.
Against the rock. Bend your knees. Come on, punch.
They fight like me, and I like that. They fight like me.
Take a step back.
Kids at home, y'all watch this. 2 grown men fighting right here.
Tyson Charles. Mike Tyson trying to deliver.
Way to stay down, Roy. Way to stay down, Roy. Jeez.
Stand your ground.
I've been one shot, you like many shots. Hurry up.
No, you ain't bleeding, bro. He just rolled up a little bit.
Did he say that?
Now I'm tough.
I think Roy's starting to feel the pressure of the moment.
Yeah. That's the champ over there.
Yeah, man.
He done came out of his shell. Them punches starting to add up.
He still got it.
And of course, Jones was a former 4-division champion, made history. Again, guys, he weighed 193 pounds when he defeated John Ruiz for the heavyweight title. Old school, Rocky Marciano did it.
More of a light heavyweight than the real natural heavyweight.
Exactly. Well, he was, moved down to face Antonio Tarver after he called up Mike Tyson 17 years ago. That was then, but this is now. And we're in round number 6, scheduled for 8 in this boxing exhibition.
Look like Mike got him in range right now. He just finally sized him up and got him right in range where he wanted him at.
And of course, no surprise, the punch stats show what they were in their prime. But Tyson left hook just on the back line.
Yeah, Roy would not allow Mike to run a combination. Every time he get ready to run a combination, he lock him up.
And he should.
But he still got to know that.
If he don't, but if he doesn't go back.
Battered him with the right hand to the body. Roy Jones again comes in and Izzy, I know. Mike Tyson, the bigger guy, Roy Jones, clinching, smothering, has to find a way to use that jab, keep Tyson at distance.
Right there, the dog. Every throws with gravity instincts, like Stu said, you have to put a little bit more body behind it. You can't just defect in the way. You have to put your weight behind it.
But the thing about it with Roy's doing the right thing, moving, but he has some punch. He has a little punches.
Well, that's the name of the game. He's beginning to fatigue, but still standing in the middle. Right up the right, get out the way. And that just missed Roy Jones Jr.
Go work, Brian.
I still can't believe this is happening, guys. Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. Andy, what's life?
Roy also is more elusive to bigger heavyweights than Tyson is.
Working in his own.
You got way more footwork.
Exactly.
Way more athletic.
Emmanuel Stewart, the estimable late trainer, said knockout cell. I know everyone's tuning in. Hoping for a knockout, but there's Roy Jones to shoot him off Tyson's face.
Yeah, Roy getting in his own now.
I like that. That's the bunny hop in the pea patch.
Great doing that. You're fucking doing great. You took that. You gotta keep your hands up though, baby.
No, you're wrong one. Yeah. There you go. The wrong one again. We'll go 15 if we got it.
Between the broadcast and the fights, we're hearing more cuss words than Glenn Geary and Glenn Ross.
All we need is Samuel Jackson for commercials and we're good.
Made him miss. Trying to make him pay. Look at the way he cut the angle on that. That is so slick.
That's skillful though.
Well, he big as fuck. He want to fight.
He's still got it. He's walking around acting like he used to.
He teasing. My nigga Tyson teasing.
Man, I'm proud of both of these fighters tonight, man. They really making me proud.
Jones sucking it up in the corner.
I cannot.
That's tough,
Joe.
Round 7 right here, gentlemen. Looking good, Mike. Looking good, Roy.
Shout out to Jitty Joe for one cut as now Tyson touches him to begin this round. Round at number 7, Mauro Ranallo along with Hall of Famer Sugar Ray Leonard, undefeated UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya, and the one and only, the Dogfather, hip-hop OG Snoop Dogg. Look at this.
Get out of here, get out of here.
Stop! No.
Oh man, now he's box.
Coach joined by Jim Gray, hosted by Mario Lopez, and what an eclectic team on this eclectic night. Tyson and Roy Jones Jr.
I like the jab combination. He used to run off in the back. He should put him on white.
Are you guys thinking the referee should break it up sooner, Israel? You content with the clinch?
He should break it up sooner because he already knows what he's going to do, what his tactic is. So definitely let them box.
Under a minute left in the 7th.
Back it off.
Again, it's an exhibition, hard sparring. We're seeing some hard shots.
One side on our short ribs. Yes, with some Mike Tyson sauce.
Take a step back.
The short rib shots hurt. They will take all your hair out of you.
Fatigue setting in for Roy Jones Jr. Wants to turn back the clock, but the clock is maybe starting ticking here in terms of speed. He is just leaning in on Mike Tyson, and again, I'm sure people are saying, well, what do you expect with a 54-year-old and 51-year-old? But Mike Tyson is brilliant.
That shot, looks like that shot hurt to the midsection of Roy.
Roy trying to land that left, trying to get those feet under him.
See,
That's right.
I'm saying is that neither one of these fighters can really get beat on each other because they don't know each other's style and they try to figure it out in 2 minutes. They have no time. By the time we get to the minute and 30 seconds, it's too late.
And in his prime, Jones, known for his unique and unorthodox fighting style, defined many of boxing's oldest traditions. Well, tonight, old tradition. Emphasis on the old with a 54-year-old Tyson, 51-year-old Jones, and we are in the home stretch here, Snoop.
Yeah, we're on the back stretch. They look like they run out of gas, but at the same time, I just feel like one punch can end this fight if they actually get it, in range. They're trying to find each other's range right now. They ain't really working out.
You need to fucking give me $100 lead right here. Last minute, you hear me? You gotta win this fucking decision right here.
Fucking getting there and fucking Muhammad Ali.
Well, the corner's obviously taking it very seriously.
And win the round. You hear me?
Cuss him like a sailor.
And it hasn't exactly been smooth sailing for Roy Jones Jr. in this fight.
You can move. Nobody moves like you. You know.
And I use the term like loosely an exhibition.
For some reason, this ring looks harder than the average rings I've seen.
It does look small.
They did that just to give a little bit more action.
Okay, because you can't run in this ring.
We saw a lot of action throughout the night. Let's not forget that many thrillers here on Triller. This is the reason we're here tonight, Snoop. Legends, wow!
They both got
Tyson though holding up.
Get off, bro. Look at
Boy, this is a hell of a fight right here. Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr.
In this, well, maybe not the battle of the ages, the battle of the aged, but it is an exhibition, and Roy Jones Jr. trying to sum it up. And there's a double left hook by Tyson.
Roy got a bunch of padlocks with him. He brought about 100 padlocks to lock Mike up. Every time he get Roy
With a straight jacket, see that
padlock, he's in range.
But it's Tyson who appears to have those keys to victory. Seconds and again, battering the body.
That was straight right there. That was straight.
Being an actor for a couple of years or 15 years, it's not easy.
15 years after Mike Tyson quit on his stool, nearly 3 years after Roy Jones Jr. extended his win streak to 4 years, they are going to go the distance in this 8-round exhibition.
51 years old, 54 years old coming in here.
I have respect for them just getting in the ring. And again, we needed to temper expectations. The exhibition is over. Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. giving us 16 minutes.
Mike wants some more. He mad now.
The beast is awoken, man.
Yeah, that's what it is.
The wars have summoned him.
So Israel, it was an exhibition. Obviously, we don't want to expect too much, but what did you think of what you saw?
I loved it. I love the fact that they were able to stay competitive the whole way. Roy using his craftiness with the grappling, with tying up the hands, getting Mike frustrated, and Mike able to still break loose with his head movement, miss shots and make him pay. Classic.
Ray, do you want to come back?
Do I want to come back?
64, you look like you're 34.
No, if I can fight you.
Let's go. Snoop Dogg, the referee. All seriousness, Ray, what do you think of what we witnessed tonight?
No, I mean, the guys are 54 years and 51. I mean,
Snoop, did it deliver what you expected?
Hey, man, when I was a kid, 54 and 51 was old man with rocking chairs. So to see them out there doing their thing, that was a lot to aspire to. I'm so honored to be here to see it. I know both of these guys personally, and thank you, champs, both of y'all. Y'all did great tonight.
And a pleasure for you to bring the entertainment, my man. For the knowledge and such a pleasure here tonight as Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr.
Yes, sir.
Anderson about to go up.
sharing the ring in the